So I feel there are two big things we need to work on in the middle of Minuet 3. So we've got the minor section in the middle, right? And those two things are the haunting sound quality that makes this so special and some shifting intonation stuff. So as for the sound you want to get, this piece, we've got the first major section, minor section in the middle, and then back to the major section again, the same thing. And this is your typical minuet and trio form. So, to make this minor section really contrast what you were doing in the major section is what makes this interesting. And for me, it's all about the sound of this first note. I like to try to sort of coax the note out of the instrument rather than like play it. So I'm gonna just gently, maybe just using 1 or 2 hairs of my bow, but really moving freely. Try to get this sort of a, but like a sigh or a wail of some sort. And then of course we've got that light that follows, right? Because this is a minuet. We've got that minuet bowing. So my suggestion would just be to play the first note, maybe the first 3 notes, a million times until you love your sound. And I don't even know if you can hear in the video what my sound sounds like, but I kind of love it. Right. So as we keep going, we've got a lot of fingering choices to make. And perhaps your teacher has already made all those choices for you, in which case I might suggest you just turn off this video and ignore it completely. Because if your teacher feels strongly about one particular fingering, then that's definitely what you should go with. What I've got, the fingerings I use, are sort of a combination. If you're using the Suzuki book, there's the fingerings on the top of the line, the fingerings at the bottom of the line, and then I put in 1 or 2 of my own, which I just prefer. So when you are deciding what fingerings to do, there really are many options, many choices, and it is sort of a personal comfort thing. What works for you is probably good. But I would just, two things to keep in mind, maybe 3 things to keep in mind in terms of general rules of shifting. 1, don't shift during a slur whenever possible. Sometimes it's not possible. In this piece it's possible. So don't shift during a slur if you can avoid it. Also, don't shift 2 notes in a row if you can avoid it. And in this piece you can definitely avoid it. And when possible, shift during an open string, which also is possible to do in this piece. And the reason for shifting during an open string is that it just gives you more time to get where you're going. So, at the very beginning, I'm going to use the shift during an open string strategy. I'm going to start in lower 2nd position, and I'm going to stay there until I get to the open D. So here's what we've got. And here comes shift. So that one's not too hard. Let's keep going. From right where I am, I'm going to do 1 replace 4. Okay, and that sets my hand up for the next group of notes that come. Stop. 3 replace 1. Stop. 2 replace 1. From the beginning again so you can see the shifts in context, okay? So, play that on 4 again, and shift. Okay, here we go. We need an extension. Now this shift right here, people tend to go too far. It's the tiniest little shift. And I close my extension. That one's definitely worth drilling a few times. So let's go from our fourth finger G. It's an up bow. We're playing extend, little shift, and close the extension. Ready? Again. Ready? Again. One more time. Okay, we're going to keep going. This time, we're going to go back to first position. So 4 replace 1. And nice big extension right there. Okay, keep going. Okay, now this shift, you could think of it in 2 different ways. You could think of it as a 1 replace 3, probably how I would think of it. Or you could think of it as a 1 replace extended 2. Whatever works for you. Up, up. Okay, now this is where my fingering comes in, that the one I invented, I suppose you should say. What I'm going to do is sort of the squishy finger shift, inchworm type shift that we did in, for example, Minuet way back when. So I'm just going to put my fourth finger where my third finger was without actually shifting right yet. Okay. And then I open my hand up from there. Okay, so let's see if I can show you that again. From here it comes. And I just think that sounds a lot smoother than you could stay here and shift right now. But that shift you're going to hear. And when possible, I'd like to not hear my shifts in this. So I'll show you my version one more time. Inchworm. Keep going. Shift. Sorry. Okay, suppose we should go over that one more time. So, how about from this low B flat, the scale going up? Shift, again, this is either you can think of it as a 1 replace 3 or a 1 replace extended 2. Tiny little shift back, 4 replace 3. Extend. Okay, now I like this section up here in lower third. Okay, now here's where it gets a little tricky. We're going to squish our third finger right across. Okay, so notice I played the 2 notes without moving my finger. It's just 3, 3, and I'm squished across. The option would be to lift your finger over, but I think you'd hear that that's not as smooth. Let me actually try it. Yeah, see, it's not as smooth. So I'm going to just squish my finger right over. Now, I like to shift right here. I'm going to 3 replace 2. You know, and this would be a spot to practice a million times. So 3, 3, 3, 2. 3, 3, 3, 2. Okay, it's a little cumbersome, this going from the squishy finger to the regular curved finger. So practice it. And then 4, 1, extended 1. Keep going. And that's it. Okay. Hope that's helpful. And really, fingering choices, it's a learning process to figure out what fingerings are best for you. And if your teacher feels strongly about a certain fingering, do it, regardless of what I say. Okay, thanks.